Seneca's Letter 6 on sharing knowledge. I feel, my dear Lucilius, that I am being not only reformed, but transformed. I do not yet, however, assure myself or indulge the hope that there are no elements left in me which need to be changed. Of course, there are many that should be made more compact, or made thinner, or be brought into greater prominence. And indeed, this very fact is proof that my spirit is altered into something better, that it can see its own faults, of which it was previously ignorant. In certain cases, sick men are congratulated because they themselves have perceived that they are sick. Therefore, I wish to impart to you this sudden change in myself. I should then begin to place a surer trust in our friendship. The true friendship which hope and fear and self-interest cannot sever. The friendship in which and for the sake of which men meet death. I can show you many who have lacked not friend but friendship. This, however, cannot possibly happen when souls are drawn together by identical inclinations into an alliance of honourable desires. And why can it not happen? Because in such cases men know that they have all things in common, especially their troubles. You cannot conceive what distinct progress I notice that each day brings to me. And when you say, "Give me also a share in these gifts which you have found so helpful," I reply that I am anxious to heap all these privileges upon you, and that I am glad to learn in order that I may teach. Nothing will ever please me, no matter how excellent or beneficial, if I must retain the knowledge of it to myself, and if wisdom were given me under the express conditions that it must be kept hidden and not uttered. I should refuse it. No good thing is pleasant to possess, without friends to share it. I shall therefore send to you the actual books, and in order that you may not waste time in searching here and there for profitable topics, I shall mark certain passages so that you can turn at once to those which I approve and admire. Of course, however, the living voice and the intimacy of a common life will help you more than the written word. You must go to the scene of action. First, because men put more faith in their eyes than in their ears, and second, because the way is long if one follows precepts, but short and helpful if one follows patterns. Cleanthes could not have been the express image of Zeno if he had merely heard his lectures. He shared his life, saw into his hidden purposes, and watched him to see whether he lived according to his own rules. Plato, Aristotle, and the whole throng of sages who were destined to go each his different way derived more benefit from the character than from the words of Socrates. It was not in the classroom of Epicurus, but living together under the same roof that made great men of Metrodorus, Hermanichus, and Polyaenus. Therefore I summon you not merely that you may derive benefit, but that you may confer benefit, for we can assist each other greatly. Meanwhile, I owe you my little daily contribution. You shall be told what pleased me today in the writings of Hecato. It is these words: "What progress, you ask, have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself." That was indeed a great benefit. Such a person can never be alone. You may be sure that such a man is a friend to all mankind. Farewell. How Seneca's Letter 6 speaks to us today. Seneca's words hit a truth we often forget. Growth doesn't isolate us, it connects us. In a time when self-improvement can become a private pursuit or a personal brand, he reminds us that the true purpose of wisdom is to be shared. Many people chase knowledge to appear intelligent or enlightened, but Seneca urges something deeper. We learn not to perform, but to pass it on. A life well lived is not one that hides its insights, but one that lifts others by them. He also points to something powerful. Proximity matters. We learn most not by reading the right quotes, but by watching how someone lives. Mentorship, friendship, community, these are the roots of real growth. And at the heart of this letter is a quiet, radical thought. Being a friend to yourself, the beginning of being a friend to everyone. When you're at peace with yourself, you're not alone, and you become a source of peace for others too. Some questions for you to consider. Are you learning just for yourself, or are you passing it on to others? Number 2, who in your life models the kind of character you want to grow into? What would it mean this week to be a true friend to yourself? What really stood out to me in this letter is the idea that growth shouldn't isolate us. It should connect us. That really shifted something for me, especially lately. I've started a daily discipline of reading for 30 minutes. Bought a dozen books to read that will actually help me grow as a person. 2 reasons sparked it. First, my concentration is terrible from playing on my phone all the time. It's designed to reduce your attention span. Second, I want to make some personal changes without needing a crisis to do it. I want to prove that I can grow from intention, not emergency. Change is easy when you're on fire, a lot more difficult when you're comfy. I've also started journaling, not to write perfect reflections, but to see the small things I do each day that are counterproductive and destructive, especially the things I do that are easy to ignore, those little habits or reactions that don't align with who I want to be. That kind of honesty helps me stay connected to myself, and that's where change begins. As they say, the devil is in the detail. Question 1. I love learning. I genuinely do. Whether it's philosophy or just the odd thought experiment, I get a lot out of exploring new ideas. But I've noticed something. When I go too deep into abstract or negative patterns of thinking, it can isolate me. There's a huge chasm that opens up sometimes between me and other people. I can get lost in thought and forget to actually connect with others through what I've learned. So now I try to share things more, but through my actions. This is a lot more difficult, but it means that I'm not overbearing and trying to elevate myself. I do not try to tell people things they don't want to hear. I do not try and win arguments with intellect. I try to encourage questions in others. Question 2. I don't really look up to just one person. What I tend to do is notice specific traits in people that I admire, and then I ask myself, why am I not more like that? And how are they? For example, I once worked with a man who had this really calm and happy aura about him. I don't have a naturally friendly face, quite the opposite. But watching him made me pay attention to how he made people feel. I didn't want to copy him, but I did try to understand what made him so warm and open. That kind of observation has been more valuable to me than following any single role model. Question 3. For me, this is about permission. On a subconscious level, actually allowing myself to be happy, to be successful, and in doing so, to truly love myself. That's not as easy as it sounds. When I don't do this, I start draining myself. I overextend, say yes when I mean no, fall into people pleasing, and then I wonder why I'm tired or frustrated. Being a true friend to myself this week means recognizing that I don't need to prove my worth through exhaustion. It means saying, you're allowed to rest, you're allowed to succeed, you're allowed to feel good, and not explain it to anyone. As ever, please like, share, and subscribe. Throw me a comment as to what you think about today and how that affected your life or how you changed what you'll do today. Thank you very much, and goodbye.